Good day, everyone. I'm Shannon Christensen, and today I'm going to discuss the set of essential study techniques that are proven to boost learning, retention, and overall academic performance. Effective studying isn't just about rereading the same sentence or the same paragraphs over and over again. It's about how you spend that time. Now let's dive into the core methods. So we'll start with number 1, which is skimming. This is your starting point. So the purpose of skimming is to quickly identify the main ideas and get an overview of the material. Now, how do you apply this? So you will read titles, headings, and summaries. So just spend 5 to 10 minutes focusing on keywords and main concepts before you begin detailed study. Now next is number 2, which is highlighting. Now, highlighting's purpose is to emphasize the key points for quick reference later. Now, how do you do this? So you need to be strategic. You use different colors for main ideas, examples, and definitions. And importantly, review those highlighted sections periodically and just don't color the pages. Now, number 3 is note-taking. The purpose of taking notes is to create personalized summaries. This is crucial for better understanding and long-term retention. Now, how do you apply this in your studying? You write brief, organized notes using bullet points, charts, or even mind maps. Now, you review them regularly, and this is when the real learning happens. Now on to number 4, which is flashcards. This is a classic technique whose purpose is to test memory and reinforce key concepts. How do you apply this? Well, you start by writing a question or a term on one side of a paper or an index card, and then the answers or the definition on the other side. This way, it facilitates quick and self-testing sessions when you're trying to memorize concepts. Now, for number 5, we have active recall, which is one of the most powerful techniques. Its purpose is to strengthen memory by forcing your brain to retrieve information without prompts. Now, how do you do this? You close your book or cover your notes and literally recite what you learned out loud or write down answers from your memory. Because if you can't recall it, you haven't truly learned it. Now, on to the next slide. We start with number 6, practice problems. The purpose of practice is simple, really. To apply your knowledge and identify specific learning gaps. Now, how do you do this? You solve exercises from your textbooks or use your previous exams. The critical step is to review your errors and to understand why you got them wrong in the first place. Now on to number 7, which is mock testing. The purpose of mock testing is to simulate real exam conditions. Now this way, it builds your endurance and reduces test anxiety. Now, how do you do mock testing? Well, you take time tests with no notes or distractions, and after the time is up, you review every single incorrect answer to turn your weaknesses into strengths. Next is number 8, planning and time management. This is the backbone to any successful study plan. The purpose of this is to organize your study tasks efficiently. Now, the way you do this is by making a weekly study plan. You prioritize hard or complex topics and regularly reflect and adjust your schedule based on your progress. Now, next we have group study. The purpose of group study is to encourage collaboration and gain new perspectives. The way you can do this is by forming small groups, let's say like 3 to 4 people, and assign different topics for discussion. This is especially helpful for clarifying difficult concepts together, as teaching others is one of the best ways to solidify your own understanding. On to the next slide, we have mnemonics. And this is a technique about improving memory through patterns, associations, or visuals. Instead of trying to memorize raw data, you create acronyms, rhymes, or even mental images to recall complex sequences. A classic example of using mnemonics is PEMDAS, to remember the order of operations in math. It's a great way to make abstract information much more sticky in your brain. Now, the next one is the Pomodoro technique, which focuses on time management. The goal here is to maintain high levels of productivity while preventing burnout. You work in focused sprints, typically 25 minutes of deep study, followed by a 5-minute break. After completing 4 of these sessions, you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. This rhythm keeps your mind fresh and helps you stay disciplined without feeling overwhelmed. And then we have mind mapping, which is a highly visual way to organize information. You start by placing your main topic or big idea in the center of the page, and then branch out into related subtopics and details. By using colors, lines, and images, you aren't just writing notes, you are creating a visual map of how concepts connect, which is much easier for the brain to process than a standard list or text. And then lastly, we have the SQ3R, or you can call it the survey, question, read, recite, and review. And this is specifically designed to improve reading comprehension, and it follows 5 clear steps. First is survey, which you briefly scan the material to get an overview. We have question, which turn headings into questions to give yourself a purpose for reading. And then we have read, which is actively looking for the answers to those questions. And then we have recite, which you summarize what you have read in your own words. And then we have review, where we regularly go over the material to ensure long-term retention. Now, all of these approaches are ways that you can turn your studying into a productive and worthwhile time. So you actually remember what you did and not just passively going through your notes. Now, that's the end of my topic, and thank you for listening.
Summary and next step. Recap. Metacognition is the essential for success in college and beyond. Example. Recap metacognition is important because it helps students understand how they think and learn. Key takeaway. Focus on how you learn, not just what you learn. Example, takeaway. The focus should not only be on the lesson or content but on the process of learning. Challenge. Identify which of the strategies, active recall, Pomodoro you'll be incorporate into your study routine this week. Examples of study challenge. One strategy I can use this week is active recall, where I teach myself instead of rereading, and will also try the Pomodoro technique to manage my time better by studying in focused intervals with short breaks.